Complexities turn to ban. Radiant team ban. Complexities turn to ban.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TI6 American Qualifiers. We are here with the playoffs in our upper bracket final between Complexity Gaming and Digital Chaos. Game number 2 now underway. We're into the draft, and we'll jump right in with, of course, myself, Mott, as well as Purge. Purge, let's talk a little bit about that last game. Let's talk a little bit about how both teams played. We talked about the playstyle from Complexity looked very strong. Weeha's Invoker, though, is, I think, maybe on another level. He played very well. I liked it personally, but what did you think about his Invoker when it was all said and done?
I've been saying this for a very long time, minimum 1 week. I think his Invoker is extremely good. I think it's his best hero by far. It just does so much.
Yeah.
He gets Sunstrike kills in the laning stage. He always farms extremely rapidly. Even when he gets behind, he always catches up in farm and is consistently the net worth. Uses his spells extremely well in terms of fights. Like, that guy's Invoker is real good. I think he has some limitations if you get him outside of his second or third best heroes. I think if you push him outside of that, he's in a bad spot as a player. Not a bad spot, but he's hit or miss sometimes.
Some would argue his Timbersaw.
I don't want to talk about that because I flame him too much about that game, and it's a little unfair. But he had a bad game. It happens, you know. But
it does.
But that's one of those miss games. He had a miss game because that's not one of his comfort heroes. If you keep him out of his slight comfort heroes, then he sometimes has rough games. This game they banned Invoker. I honestly think that's the right choice. Obviously, there are other things coL should have and could have done to win that game, regardless of the Invoker being there. But I think it's just a little safer to ban the Invoker.
I would agree with you in that situation, just because of how he played. He did get a lot of help from his teammates, not to say that it was just a solo effort, obviously.
Of course.
But that's how it is always in most Dota games, though, to be fair. If you're going to be able to perform at that high of a level, and you're going to have that kind of performance on Invoker, you're going to need some help with some setups, with Roar, with Chronosphere. And he had that for the most part at the beginning of the game. And they were able to transition that pretty well into the mid game, I think.
And sometimes he didn't even have that, and it still worked out really well. It was very, very good Invoker play. They're going to open with a Lifestealer this game since it did get let through. The two very common coL heroes of Darkseer and Earth Spirit are going to get banned. That was kind of one of their openers. For a long period of time, they consistently were picking those two heroes in the offlane, and I think they just make their draft really straightforward, and they also make their mid game really strong. Z-Freak, though, man, that guy, it doesn't matter what hero he plays really well. He played great on Chen. I think his micro was great, his roam was great. He had a huge impact. We didn't see that much out of Chen's other spells. It was mostly just good creep pressure. But at some point in a game like that with that many teamfight ultis, Chen is always going to fall a little flat. So. Not too weird.
They'll grab the Beastmaster for Swindle Melons, which is, again, one of those heroes I was talking about last draft, which is one of his better heroes. He played a great Slardar game, which you had mentioned.
Yep, I think he did.
And
then very well.
The Bane comes out now, so these are two heroes that are obviously very strong against Lifestealer, but the Bane is a bit interesting. What do you think about the Bane's second pick especially?
Well, they're just doing it because of Lifestealer, basically. You got a couple solutions. Enfeeble, if you get later in the game, you can reduce his damage. It can add up. Nightmare, you can make somebody invulnerable for 1 second, whether or not you cast it on somebody that gets open wounds, or on Lifestealer before or after he rages. You can obviously also Fiend's Grip. Fiend's Grip just hard counters rage, which is in a lot of ways the Lifestealer as a hero, is the fact that he does tons of single target damage. He's a little hard to kill due to Infest, his ultimate, but mostly because he goes magic immune, free BKB out of rage. So Bane is just strong at laning. Bane got very slight buffs in the latest patch where Brain Sap now scales down to 11 seconds cooldown instead of 14 on Brain Sap. So it's actually a pretty good nuke. It's actually a very, very good nuke.
It's pretty mana efficient too, if I remember correctly.
I don't know about that. It's too... Oh, actually, it's been better.
I remember they nerfed it, or buffed it, excuse me, a while ago. It does, obviously, once you get later on into the game, which hopefully you have Arcanes or some sort of mana item at that point, 160 is not necessarily the worst thing, and 70 at the first level is really good, I think.
Yeah, it is actually. I was, for some reason, remembering the days when Brain Sap used to cost 200.
No, it was a lot of mana. I think it was 200,
but it's been buffed over time. honestly very relatively small buff for Bane here, but in terms of roaming, it's quite good because if you have really long engagements kind of things, then it can buy you enough time to get another brain sap.
Another brain sap could save your life, number one,
Yep.
kill another hero, or do both at the same time.
And it does a lot of damage because it's pure, by the way. So
Yep.
it's equivalent to like 400. It's more like 400. It's like a 400 magic damage nuke is the equivalent. So it's a very, very good nuke.
Very strong. And
So Bounty Hunter picked by DC, a hero that normally doesn't get let through. Kind of surprising to see Bounty still be played a lot just because he has been getting little nerf after little nerf. He's been very consistently nerfed over a long period of time.
did he get nerfed in 6.8? I feel like he got something
I think
changed
he
about
did.
him.
I believe it was track gold for self. He used to give himself 200. Now.
Oh, you are correct. Yeah,
So
150. Yeah.
it's not as much gold as it used to give. I think in the ultra late game 16, level 16 and on, he still gets as much gold as he did before.
Is now looking at the bans. Terrorblade was not touched in the last game, but is going to get banned out this time by Complexity, not wanting to give it up to. Interestingly, though, they have the Lifestealer, so I don't.
It's a little peculiar, but they've already got Roar, which goes through BKB, and they've got Fiend's Grip. They've got 2 heroes that can lock him down.
So
I
what
think it's
you
okay.
could have done is we've seen Sumail play Terrorblade mid, and that's an opportunity for Wea. I don't know if that would have been the case. I think it's a smart ban regardless, just to get it out of the pool.
It's great here based on the 2 heroes coL has. Beastmaster doesn't have very good AoE, and Bane has horrible AoE.
Yeah, he's very bad AoE.
If they had a Terrorblade, they would have a lot of trouble dealing with the illusions. If they didn't also have Timbersaw plus something else, it would be tough. I think it's just so much safer for them to ban Terrorblade, because if you do like half of Fiend's Grip or Roar into half of Fiend's Grip, and then that disable gets broken and he sunders somebody, then your whole lineup is countered. Very safe for them when they don't have good AoE and they don't have the best Timber or the best Terrorblade solutions. Just ban it. They can go for something instead.
So what are we looking at here for a Weehaw mid hero now? What are you thinking as far as his choices are?
This could be a Meepo game here. Definitely a possibility.
Ooh, okay.
Against again weak AoE, so it's a possibility. I think it could work. It could work. It might be tough. Sometimes Bane can be really good if a Meepo is retreating. Fiend's Grip can be really a good counter.
Yes.
Just keeping one Meepo there.
Yes.
Io's the pick for coL though, so this is going to give them a lot of offensive opportunity, and kind of cool to see Io be seen as not good right now just because he's not being banned first round or picked in first phase, kind of like he was at Manila.
Right.
But this gives them so many good offensive opportunities. They can scout with the Hawk and look for relocate ganks. They can find where Bounty is and relocate in with a Dust, for example. So it should help in that kind of a pressure, because Bounty's going to pressure all lanes as long as Io has a TP. He can show up, get some heals in, some tether movement speed, that kind of thing.
And it's interesting, they had the Chen last game, and so now they'll have the Io this game. And we'll wait to see what the combination partner is for Complexity. We do know that they love to pick the Tiny up for, I believe it's Limp.
Yep.
And that's not a terrible option this game.
I don't think I like it against Lifestealer, though. Just because if he rages, your combo is wasted. I mean, yeah, you can try to do a toss into Avalanche, but that working isn't even always guaranteed. Normally, I would say yes, absolutely Tiny, but against the Lifestealer, I'm not sold. This is a
the
much
better
better
option.
choice.
Yes.
Amazing versus Tidehunter, amazing versus Lifestealer. This beautiful pick by coL.
This is a great choice for them, but we still have to wait and see what DC's next 2 choices are going to be and how they affect the Ursa as we move through the game. Obviously, 1 or 2 picks, we'll see how effective it is actually going to be, and we still have to see what Weehaw's hero is going to be, like the Meepo, as you talked about. Meepo against Ursa.
It's not good. Definitely not good. It can be good if you have some control over the fight, but if Ursa's initiating and he has any kind of backup or disable, you're going to lose a Meepo. Meepo's definitely very weak to single target physical damage.
I do like the Wyvern though.
Yeah.
If you get the Io and the Ursa is next to him, if you of course curse the Io and then the Ursa is tethered onto him, the Ursa will kill him.
Only if he has overpower on. That's the only bad thing about that combo. The good thing about it is that he's Ursa's all physical damage, so you can protect him in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same thing if somebody gets gripped or roared or something like that.
What's the Nightmare interaction once Winter Curse hits? I would imagine it Nightmare is the person that's attacking the.
If you Nightmare the person that has been cursed, or the person that's...
Well, if you Nightmare the person that has been cursed, then that goes on to the other person, correct?
It gives them 1 second of invulnerability where nobody hits them, and then afterwards it'll probably be stolen away from somebody. Yes, I would assume.
So actually, I think that's pretty good. Bane defensively is okay against Winter Wyvern and Winter's Curse.
The Nightmare cast range has been buffed a little bit over time. Goes up to 650, whereas the radius of Winter's Curse is 500. So you can Nightmare somebody that gets cursed, but I don't really see that as being that big of a deal. I think it's going to be hard to, to shut that down.
Especially in the middle of a team fight, you're not trying. Like, if as soon as you come out of the curse and you're nightmared up, that might not be fun. Yeah, you could take it off, but
or better yet, what you could do is if it's just like Ursa hitting somebody, you just nightmare the Ursa.
Yes.
And then as soon as the Winter's Curse ends, you end the nightmare, and then everybody's fine because they're basically invulnerable then during that. Because whenever somebody's Winter's Curse, they can't damage each other anymore. Either way, I really like the coL's draft right now. On DC's side, I like the Winter pickup because it's going to make the fights even more chaotic. They were already fairly chaotic because of Tide, but Tide alone isn't enough. If you put a Winter Wyvern on the back of that, then you start doing things like Infest Tidehunter, they Blink Ravage with follow-up of Splinter Blast on Winter Wyvern, and then fights get really difficult for coL. So this is going to be very much a who initiates first game.
Yeah.
And considering DC has a bounty hunter, it's looking a little iffy for coL right
It's
now.
controlling that vision of the map. They pick up the Death Prophet for Weehaw as well. So now on top of Ravage, on top of Winter's Curse, on top of Infest out, you have Exorcism, Spirit Siphon. Not to mention with there's okay magical damage here with the Tidehunter. I don't know if Veil is the best pickup this game because of it's so good with Crypt Swarm and Spirit Siphon. Do you still go for the Veil this game on the Death Prophet?
I would say yes. Splinter Blast with it is very, very good. Bounty Hunter Shuriken Toss is going to be, he's going to be throwing out a lot of those to slow down pushes or whatever coL is doing. The Mirana pick, this is going to be a core Mirana for sure.
Safe lane and then Ursa IO dual lane mid perhaps? I'm not sure where they're going to send everybody yet.
I think you're right. I do like the idea of Ursa IO versus Death Prophet. That sounds actually quite good. The downside then is that Tidehunter is going to get more than you were expecting him to get.
Especially against Mirana, I think.
It could be Mirana mid, honestly. It definitely could be. And I think it's definitely a possibility. I think other teams have been doing Mirana versus DP. I saw FDL play it against, who was that? EG or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few Mirana DPs in the mid lane. I don't think it's too bad.
By the way, we should talk about the Bane Mirana combo. I mean,
good point.
And not to mention that, but also with the Beastmaster with Roar up as well. But that's less.
It's a great dual lane. It's really efficient. You don't have to commit 3 heroes to it. You don't have to commit having a roaming Mirana, which is sometimes iffy. You take a Mirana and you put a Bane with him and you guarantee an arrow off. The downside is that they have the counter to it. It's Tidehunter.
Yeah.
Because if he takes too much damage, then he removes the stun. So, most important thing we can ever do. Predictions.
I swear we're going to get all of these one day.
Longest kill streak. I'm going to put this on either...
It's either Rezo or Chessie, I think, right?
It could be Weehaw, but I think there's with Ursa in the game, I think he will be dying occasionally. Although there is of course, a Winter Wyvern. It's a pretty cool game. I like both drafts quite a bit. Actually.
I'm going with Chessie. I'm gonna give it to Chessie. I know DC won all of the awards last time for predictions.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If there wasn't an Ursa in this game, I would be happy picking either Lifestealer or Death Prophet. But the Ursa pick was just so good. I'm okay with Chessie.
I feel like this game will have more player deaths at 10 minutes than last game, but is it 6 to 10 or 11?
All right, they found it. This is a bounty kill, I think.
Yeah, they should get this.
Better be.
Yeah, he has detection on him for a little bit longer. Brain step and it will get the kill. And so Siegfried gets it done and gets himself that first blood gold.
Okay, I like that they did that. They basically smoked to guarantee that they could probably kill Bounty. Bounty was going to move in the jungle. They put a ward on the high ground, and as soon as the smoke broke, they popped dust. So cost them a smoke, which is 50, and a dust, which is 90. All right, I'm sorry.
We have only 18 seconds left. I said 6 to 10. Last player to be killed, I think, is going to be Chessie as well. Maybe Weehaw.
I put Limp. Will there be a courier snipe? Hell yes. Total player deaths by 10 minutes. We got 9 seconds.
6:10 or 11:15.
6:10.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we're good.
We're good. We did it.
Do we get anything by winning those, or?
I think I might be wrong, but I believe if you get the predictions correct, you get some battle points if you have the compendium.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure about that.
I do have.
If you get all of them correct, I should say. So that's important.
Only downside here to coL getting that first blood is that Bane had to get Brain Sap. He probably would have liked Nightmare in some cases because he can set up the arrow. It is Mirana mid. And this is where this dual lane gets better, and this makes a lot of sense for them doing this. This way they get Ursa against the Tidehunter, which is what they wanted. And this way they then aren't countered by Kraken Shell. If they Nightmare Weehaw, he has to be afraid of actually getting arrowed. So
the one thing I don't like about Limp going mid is that I've seen this matchup before, and DP versus Mirana, I just feel like Weehaw does more damages and has better animation than Limp does in the Mirana, so his CSing should... Well, Limp's doing pretty well right now, but
it's not about that only. I totally agree with you in a 1v1, but I think because there's a Bane here, it's a little different.
Ooh. Jeez.
Oh,
Good
the
arrow.
arrow.
This is
He's
good,
dead.
Typhon.
He's dead.
He's actually going to have to fairy fire uphill miss. It's
Oh,
gonna
the
be there.
miss.
And actually saves his life. The salve will come through.
Oh.
He is so lucky to be alive.
That was so lucky to be. You're totally right, dude. That was a beautiful arrow by Limp. That was just worst case scenario by We. There was like 5 creeps hitting him while he got stunned there. Beautiful moves.
Oh my goodness.
God, if that kill would have happened, oh, that would have changed the whole game.
Then you start thinking about getting. Oh, by the way, Misery knows there's a sentry here now. He brought the creep wave towards him, and so Swindles knows that Misery's up. He'll like even steal a CS.
Oh, not the board too.
Misery getting some good CS against Swindles. The Iron Talon jungling Beastmaster. There's a lot of heroes rotating in. There is Dust, mind you. He misses it. Misery is able to get up to the Uber Cliff and just make sure he stays alive and out of range of that detection. And now both Dust gone from the Bane. He used one for first blood. He'll have to send another out here. But instead, Misery will stay around, misses out on that. Ooh, still will get it.
Swindles, come on,
Swindles misses the CS. Now mid lane, Arrow. They get the Nightmare up, but good cold embrace TP coming through from that Winter Wyvern. And Weehaw will stay alive.
He can't give Bounty that many last hits. He's given Bounty like 130 gold so far.
They dropped a sentry nearby. They'll see him walk up here momentarily.
Yeah. All right,
this could be good.
But will they rotate over? As long as Swindles micros it, okay? Okay, he's actually just going to break the clarity.
We use that full mana anyway. I don't think he really minds that much.
Yeah, he doesn't. I think that was fine by Swindles. I mean, he doesn't necessarily want the supports to keep rotating just to try to kill Bounty.
Z-Freak will find himself some nice experience as the bottom lane is pushed in. And again, Misery finds himself another board kill, and he has currently 6 last hits on a Bounty Hunter, which probably shouldn't happen if you are for Complexity, but it did. So
definitely too many. Death Prophet at 10 last hits now, Potom at 8, so both of these guys kind of a little low on last hits. Jesse's got free farm in his lane, 17 lifesteal on the other side. Same thing, 20 last hits for him.
The Tide is sitting at 10, the Beastmaster sitting at 13. Moo has to go back home, he's level 3. Nobody's really zoning him out or leeching experience, so actually...
He must have been jungling, right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah, I think he had to be. And so, but the only difference is that, again, like I said, Complexity's not sending anybody over there to try to zone him out or be effective and just try to stop him from jungling. So Complexity, Swindlemounts has probably a harder time now and will have a harder time until they really commit a couple of heroes over here to kill Misery.
Well, this board's going to die.
Yeah, this boar is probably dead. He actually uses the Janata, but with one more right click. Actually, Swindles does get the deny off, so a nice little play. But at this point, Swindles is really being annoyed. Chessie was diving on the tier 1 tower. We'll take a couple of tower hits. He's got tangos, though. He's got 2 of them in a salve. Meanwhile, mid, Limp will take another Crypt Swarm, and they have the Bane coming back in, looking for a setup, perhaps, but Weehaw notices this. They pinged it out. I don't know if they had vision from the creep wave or if it was just the fact that they knew that it was missing bottom. They won't be able to find the kill, and Weehaw is forced to go up to the high ground. And Z-Freak is chasing him down. He's got a ward. He's not going to put it down yet, though. Where will he place the ward is the question. It'll probably get countered if he puts it into that ancient stacker close there.
Swindle's got to be a little careful. He's kind of low. He really has been contested a lot by the Bounty here. Bounty's been doing a great job.
He's doing some serious, and that's why he has to, I think, go for headdress, because of how much he's been contested.
All right, he's going to be okay now. Misery TPing back to base. That was actually really well done by Misery.
Yeah, that 4-minute exchange of him is just... Swindle's just like super annoyed, I think, in that situation.
Oh, for sure. I think he's been doing, Misery's been doing an absolutely great job here. Although I think it's maybe due to Swindle's errors a little bit more than Misery playing amazing, but he has been playing it very well.
Yeah.
I just love the fact that he was trading with him, realized instantly that he wasn't going to get the kill, and he started TPing. And he did that because I looked at the map as soon as he did that, and there was like 4 people moving towards him on the map. So he wasted a good 10 seconds or so. Limp walked all the way to the jungle just to start moving that way. It was really well done what Misery did.
And now Misery goes top to help out with the tower pressure as Moo is now here. He's level 4. He just got level 5. Net worth wise, he's a little bit behind Swindle. CS wise, it's the same. So despite all of that aggression from the Bounty Hunter, Moo is still a little bit behind. But again, I think that's to be expected with just... Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm incorrect about that. Do you farm quicker on a Beastmaster than you do with a Tide Hunter in the jungle?
It's not even close. Tide is doing really well considering the fact that he's higher level. And that's the big thing. It's about levels. Beastmaster wants 6 so that he can start roaring people. And Tide Hunter wants a fast 6 as well so that he can have the Ravage option. And it's not just that. I mean, Tide is really also useful at laning once he gets like level 4. So 2 Kraken, 2 Anchor sort of stuff. So Tide's going to be pretty happy with this, I think. He's definitely doing better than Swindles is. But keep in mind, Bounty's a little underleveled. But, you know, that's normal stuff.
Bottom lane, infest out. Z-Freak, Brain Step can't get it off in time, but they do get the Earth Shock. It is only level 1. Resolution has Raging 6. No Infest just used it. and Arctic Burn will cover the retreat. Now another TP coming in. It is going to be from the Ron, and needs to hit an arrow in order to get the kill, and even cancels it, realizing they can't chase any further. So Resolution is not punished for that dive. TP comes out from Saxa as he's able to Arctic Burn on the high ground and makes him actually just vanish from that bottom lane.
That was really nicely done there by DC there. It mostly came down to a small mistake that IO, he must have tethered the Bane to try to save him, and then he didn't have tether for Ursa. Otherwise, Ursa probably would have been able to kill Lifestealer.
Ooh,
Jesse's going for a kill here.
Limp doesn't have that arrow, but there's going to be the Earth Shock. Arrow's up in 7, good TP away, and they shouldn't be able to get this kill.
Up.
It's just if they had arrow in 1, they would have gotten it, but unfortunately he used it a little too early.
It wasn't just that though. Jesse, when he used his Enrage, he used it after his first Overpower hit, so he only got like 2 hits off of with Enrage and Overpower.
So if
he might have killed him.
Yeah, exactly. If he had that extra Overpower with Enrage comboed up, he might have gotten the kill. But
and I think his skill build, maybe I can criticize for it if he does plan to move around the map and get stuff done, which I don't think he necessarily did. I think he TP'd bottom to try to save Bane.
So are you saying you would rather have more Earthshock or more Overpower?
I mean, possibly either one. I would maybe do like a 1-2-2 or probably a 1-2-2 might have been better. If he had 2 Overpower there, he definitely would have killed the Death Prophet, I think. It would have been very close. If he did the Enrage perfectly and he did 1-2-2, I pretty much guarantee he killed him.
Down bottom, arrow, sidestepped by Resolution. Meanwhile, double damage mid, as it looks like Z-Freak is probably dead here unless he gets up a Nightmare, which he does perfectly, but it looks like he will take it away. How far is he willing to dive this under the tower? With the Crypt Storm, misses it, and I don't know if he would have gotten the kill had he hit the Crypt Storm, would have been close, but Z-Freak is able to stay alive. And the TP from Hans going to make sure he's up and ready to go. So I think Complexity are playing well. They have not a net worth advantage. It's actually going the way of DC. It's still very close, though. I mean, it is a very close game to start things out. But again, here comes Misery. Z-Freak, they have another tether coming through. Overcharge to save his life. Good Fairy Fire bottle usage from Hansky to make sure Z-Freak stays alive. Moonlight Shadow comes out as Limp is now down bottom, looking to set up an arrow. It is level 1, but Resolution, it's very tough to kill this hero solo, and I don't think that he's going to go for it. Instead, he could try to find Zox in the jungle, but again, he's going to jump in. He hits the Harrow. He's going to look for the Starstorm. Does he have enough damage? He gets the extra bucket. He gets out, and now he's leaped forward, and it looks like he will fall. Limp. Too aggressive, I think, in that situation. It's so hard to kill Resolution in that situation, honestly.
Yeah, he thought he could kill it, but the arrow's just so short range. It's not a very long stun duration, and man, Limp is just having a rough 2 games here. I feel a little bad for him because normally he plays very, very well, but he's definitely making some very crucial mistakes.
TP coming in to help Moo out. It's Misery nearby, and you can see the pressure being mounted on the Tier 1 tower top lane, as the same can be said for the bottom lane. And Misery is nearby. He'll scout out Z-Freak and Swindle's Dust goes, but it's unfortunately a little too late, as Misery will avoid it. And there's the Nightmare coming out. Moo has been caught by it. No arrow coming through, just trying to stop the pressure to defend that Tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, bottom, Limp is back there to set up his own defense. Sox is TPing up to that Tier 1 or Tier 2 tower top lane. It looks like we might have a big fight here. Moo has Ravage. Blizzard Blast coming in. Dust. They found the Roar into Misery. Can they bring him down? Good Golden Braids. And Chessie instead looks for the Earth Shock instead onto Moo, but no, they have to back away. That tower's low, they'll finish it off, but can they get out alive and not lose a single hero is the question. It looks like they should be okay. Chessie, he might get caught. No Winter Curse. Arctic Burns down. Tether coming through to get that extra move speed, and everyone will escape for Complexity. That Tier 1 tower is still alive bottom, but they will lose the Tier 1 tower mid with the Exorcism. Weehaw trying to TP out. Arrow should come through, and he doesn't have it. It's down for 6 seconds. It's Swindle with no Roar. He's not able to find the TP stop as well.
It's ultimately not worth it for coL there. It was good for them that nobody died, but they're having some trouble finding the right kills. They're just being a little outplayed by Misery's positions. That he's wasting the Dust. That's the one here they could have killed. They couldn't really kill Tidehunter very easily unless Ursa starts right on top of him as the Roar comes through.
Hanskin forced to tether away from Misery with Janata and level 2 Shuriken. He had 4 raindrops as well, so you saw him get roared up there. One of the raindrops was used, and they just didn't have the damage with those raindrops up. So
yep, and they needed Ursa to be there during the Roar, so maybe you can criticize Swindle for that one, but he thought that they would have damage opportunity.
And Sox, of course, with the Golden Embrace, and makes it pretty easy, I think, to help out against any sort of physical damage from said Chessie. All right, well, total number of deaths by 10 minutes. It's only 3 instead of. I think we had 0 for 5.
I thought there would be more due to the Bane Mirana combo, but I suppose There's a lot of safe jungling, I guess. It was more like an experience trade game.
It's so hard to predict this kind of thing. It's a Dota game, for God's sakes. Anything can happen.
I think we could have been better about predicting it. You know, there's Lifestealer is very difficult to kill, Tidehunter is very difficult to kill, and they have a Winter Wyvern on the back of that.
I just thought there was such a good team fight from both sides, but exactly what you mentioned, the jungling coming out, the tanky heroes on both sides. Limp will TP down bottom as everyone's focusing on this tier 1 tower bottom lane. They don't want to have to give up 2 here. Moonlight Shadow will go, Misery will scout it out, and it's time to back up for DC. The dust should go, but it's too late already. They don't have one at D-Freak. In fact, nobody has it. Deny comes through from Swindles nicely. Hanska does have detection. They saw it. The dust is up, and he should fall. Arrow, short range, brain sap, and more than enough damage to Starstorm. And finally, they'll take down that pesky bounty hunter.
Yeah. A very rare mistake for Misery, but that was quite bad the way he died. He was basically just strolling along, and he's like, "Oh, I'm about to become visible again." Press the invis button. You know what? It's not his fault. He didn't know they were there. They were invis because of Potomol.
I thought he saw the Potomol go off.
He did, but he didn't know where they were standing.
Okay.
You know, he thought that they were continuing south to go look for a kill, but they doubled back accidentally the same direction he was going. He didn't know where they were. He popped invis. They were right on top of him.
Just a bit of luck.
It looked stupid, but that's because I'm an observer.
We have more vision as to what's going on in the map. So we can't criticize players for the plays being made within his heroes and lack of vision.
That was just a little bit unlucky. Maybe he should have hidden a tree to do that.
I really like this play from Complexity. This could get them back into the game. And again, it'll be that classic tier 1 tower trade top lane for Roshan, assuming DC don't look to try to defend this. Weehawk, by the way, has a casual event booster. He also picked up a Windlay, so he thought about maybe for a Yules for a moment there, but maybe just looking for that extra move speed. He is taking down his tower fast. How about Roshan? That's also going down fast, because guess what? It's an Ursa. He'll have his Mask of Madness with his Aegis now, and of course with level 1 Enrage, level 4 Fury Sweeps, level 2 Overpower takes very, very easy. Now Limp's caught out. He's already used the leap. There's the tether, overcharge coming out, but it's just not enough. They even get the Winter's Curse on the Hanskin, and it looks like they'll lose 2 here. Wow. The Anchor Smash gets double kill for Moo. Wow, that was pretty nice. They really wanted him to get that kill, or I don't know what happened there. But
great Winter's Curse, really well timed there.
Yeah.
But losing that hero those 2 heroes while losing the tower while trading for Roche is not the best trade. Limp again falling flat here. He's only got Treads, Aquila with a magic stick. I feel like he's out of his comfort zone or something, because I don't know if I've seen him play that much Timbersaw before either. Always TPing out. This is going to be close.
Shuriken? Doesn't get it off in time. Misery had to go for the animation. It just wasn't there.
He probably A-clicked the ground, which is why he did the attack animation. So it was an auto reaction, and then he had to throw the Shuriken. So it looked kind of funny, but
it was close.
Very close. Did you change the player perspective like a true ops, or?
I did not. I should have, though.
That's alright.
I have my fingers positioned correctly for that too. It's hard to do that on the fly, honestly.
It is, yeah. So Ursa right now is doing quite well. 89 last hits. Chelsea's pretty happy. Swindle Mounds is level 8. He's only got Necro 1. He's definitely behind. I guess it's only 13 minutes, and he's just a little behind. Not terribly. But they need to start winning some team fights.
Yeah, they really do.
They need Mirana to get some stuff done, because right now she's not farming very well. She hasn't been a part in any kills, really. She's only got 60 last hits.
Surprisingly not that far behind the Death Prophet, but the big thing is that the Lifestealer is pretty far ahead of everyone, with the exception of the Ursa.
Yeah,
and Moo is doing really well as well with the double kill that he just received. And before that double kill, it was only about 1,000 net worth advantage, and now it's about a 2,000 net worth advantage. And this is where it gets tricky. Complexity do have some good vision with the Hawk into the jungle, but it looks like Z-Freak is... Oh, man, that ward is great. But Misery is scouting under the tower, looking to find anybody. There's the Moonlight Shadow. We might see a fight break out here.
They're not ready, though. Mirana's not here yet.
She's walking as fast as she goddamn can. The Nightmare's going to come out onto Moo. They're looking for an arrow, but she's too far away. Instead, who will they go for? They have Soxa nearby. Roars up in the Misery. Again, they have Golden Brace. It's going to come out immediately. Ravage comes through. Chessie did not pop the Enrage. He does have that Aegis, but boy, he's about to fall quickly, and there it goes. They've already lost 2. Limp's going to go down next. He has to leap away. Hanski getting Spirit siphoned up, and he will fall to one more right click. 2 dead, looking for the 3rd. Chessie has the Enrage, but just cannot do this on his own. And that fight was about as bad as it can get, and they even used the Winter's Curse just to make sure they miss out on any more further damage on the Resolution, who infests inside of Weehaw safely, and DC will take a 3-4-0 exchange. That is a lot of gold going the way of DC. That might be one of those fights that you look back on and say, well, oh boy.
That was just really bad coordination by coL in that fight. And by all means, I like the positioning of Bane, but they kind of jumped the gun a little bit. the Potom wasn't there. If Potom was closer, they could have initiated at that moment, but they nightmared the Tide. They waited like 4 seconds before they started the fight because they didn't see another good opportunity. They can't roar the Tide Hunter because then he's just going to become unstunned and then he'll Ravage. It was just, there weren't a lot of good options there. They had to do that with a Nightmare on Tide and then Fiend's Grip killed the Death Prophet, but they just didn't quite get that combo. So
it's so tough
not good for
because
coL.
I feel like coL and Embrace is doing a lot of work this game, to be honest.
Yeah, it was, but it was mostly the fact that everybody was kind of running around. It's like, for their fights to go well, when there's a Tide Hunter in the game, they need to delay the Ravage so it doesn't happen during the burst of Roar, because if they do, Roar's offset. So they need to sleep the Tide while they roar somebody, while Ursa's already on top of them. That's what needs to happen.
It's like XYZ needs to happen before they can find a good team fight.
Yeah, and they've almost got Blink, and that'll offset that, but they didn't do it in that fight, and they weren't ready. They weren't on the same page, and they used their Potom multi a little early. I don't know. It was definitely some coordination.
This game is still close. Complexity Swindlemons has been scouted, and it looks like he's dead. He has no TP for Aiden, and Resolution's got to find a Rage open.
Oh, he's got no TP.
Roar will go out. TP's still not there.
Oh,
for another
good.
team. Relocated. Weehaw might be found out. Good Yule Scepter, but Swindle still will fall. The arrow's going to come in. Weehaw can't afford to die. Track movement speed solo, and Hanskin will find him with a last right click. And now Misery. Does he have enough mana to use the Shadow Walk? He does not. And Chessie, is he fast enough? He buys the Blink, and he goes for the Earthshock. He gets up the Shadow Walk, but the fade delay is too long, and they will find 2 kills. They'll lose Swindle's arrow, just narrowly dodged by Moo. That big, fat Tide Hunter Watermelon is able to sidestep it to the right and avoid that arrow from Limp, who really needs to hit some of these. Unfortunately, he won't find that third target. Not that it would have been easy to bring down a Tide Hunter. They'll still get 2 going their way, and Weehaw obviously going down is the biggest possible thing that could have happened in that situation.
I just love seeing Blink Dagger purchases like that, getting a kill,
so
where
cool.
If he didn't do it, he wouldn't have gotten it.
That was so cool. So cool. And
It's so
Chessie,
simple sounding, but the fact that that was the only way he got that kill made that really cool. Chessie might get caught here by life. No, never mind. He doesn't have a blink or anything.
yeah, Resolution will walk up. He has Echo Saber, but at the very least he defends the tier 1 tower down bottom, which is, again, a lot of gold stored up for complexity in these tier 1 towers.
Yeah. They're still behind, by the way. Like, everything we just said, that was a good fight for them, considering that it would have just been Swindles dying for nothing, but that's why he was over there, because he knew they had to relocate. He was looking for a solo right
Yeah, and that's back up in 10 seconds, by the way, but there is a Smoke of Deceit gank from Misery, Weehaw, and Moo with Ravage back up. It's level 2 now. Misery will lead the way. There's an Observer Ward, but it's just not going to catch anybody yet, as of course, they'll find Chessie. He needs to blink out. He does, perfectly timed. Chessie makes it away. The Shuriken toss was there. It just wasn't in time to come through. And now it looks like there might be a re-engage. Swindles, he gets out in time as well, looking for that Necro 2. Boy, does he want that item. And DC will group up with Exorcism. It's so hard to fight into Ravage, and it's so hard to fight with all these abilities from DC.
Yeah, it really is. It was such a good Tide Hunter game. It really counters both Roar and Bane ult. If Bane was like a Disruptor, for example, coL could be really winning this game really easy. They do a Roar on somebody, they do a Disrupt ulti afterwards, and they just kill the Tide, but they can't do that this game. It's been very difficult for them to take fights.
And so they just have to split push. Chessie will take down the tier 1 tower mid as it is glyphed up, but that tier 2 is going to be glyphed as well. However, with that glyph going to tier 2, there will be no glyph in the tier 3 if they continue the push with Exorcism. That will not be the case if they're going to TP back to the tier 2 tower mid lane.
Yeah, coL's still getting a lot out of this despite them losing the tower. So just because they have relocate, that's one of the really nice things that IO gives you, is that Chessie can constantly be farming somewhere, technically out of position, but not because of the threat of relocate.
Okay, so how big of an item is this Aghanims for the Mirana in this game?
I think it's actually quite a bit. When you're talking about coL Embrace, for example, they don't have a good solution to that kind of physical immunity, so if he gets that extra burst, it's going to help a lot. And also, it's going to increase his farm level by a lot. His last hits are actually fairly competitive. He's ahead of both Tide as well as Weehaw right now, but it will accelerate him farther. He's not going to ever catch up to Lifestealer unless they start winning fights and he gets kills, but I think it's going to be a big advantage compared to what he's outputting right now.
This is against a track team, by the way, with, of course, the Bounty Hunter on DC side for Misery.
Really
so they're doing everything they can.
They're going for the trade here.
Yeah, Exorcism's going. They've only sent Soxa down bottom. I don't think he could defend this on his own. They know that their Exorcism is going mid. Unfortunately, Limp is just blinking away at the tower, whereas he doesn't have the best tower push. Infest, TP down bottom coming through. There's the Winter's Curse. He needs to leap out immediately. And can he make it away? Still slowed up from the Arctic Burn. So low, he's got to TP now. The Infest will probably get the kill. Nightmare is there. The Yules is up. It's just not in time. Crypt Swarm, it's not there. Exorcism damage, he's so low. Now they're relocating, they will get Resolution to kill. Still Chessie left to his own devices will take down Zoxa, but still the track's up Shuriken. Spirit Siphon, boom. Weehaw gets himself a double kill. On the other side, Roar's gonna find Moo, but Swindles just has to TP out. He really does not want to engage in that fight. And of course, it will be a 3-for-1 exchange. They do get the tier 1 tower, mind you, but that's as bad as it gets because you lose both Limp on the Mirana, who didn't buy the component that she needed for Aghanims, and then of course Jesse goes down because he had popped his Mask of Madness. He dies too quickly to all that damage.
It was just they were trying to salvage a bad situation, and it just ended up being mostly bad. They did kill Winter Wyvern, but that's not enough. You have to kill a core. I mean, Swindles did his best to try to stop the TPs. Maybe he should have roared the Death Prophet, because there was an infest on the Death Prophet. He could have roared Death Prophet to stop the TP.
That would have been huge.
But then he would have 100% died, but then maybe Potom would have lived. Would that have been better? I actually think it would have, because they wouldn't have relocated for it then.
I mean, she needs to find a way back into this game, and that Aghanims is one way, and her not dying is another way. Complexity, we can talk about what they needed to do for a long time, but at this point right now, they're down 11-5. The net worth advantage is now creeping up to about 5,000, and if they lose another fight, well, they'll lose Hanskin, and that's a track kill. It's going to go up to about 6,000 now. And now Z-Freak has almost been scouted top lane. He needs to TP out immediately. With no IO, there's no relocate in. Roche is back up at 20, by the way. There's a Radiant Observer Ward towards the pit with Limp nearby. And, of course, that Axe is flying out, so there's something. But Complexity are just looking for any little grasp of a team fight. But with Ravage, with Exorcism, with Winter's Curse, it's so tough to fight against that for Complexity.
Yeah, it's very difficult with the heroes they're up against. Ursa looks so good on paper, but they just don't have the lockdown to guarantee kill all of these heroes. There's so many things that are going to interrupt it.
Even if he gets a BKB, Ursa does, and I'm not even sure that's the next item he goes for, and in fact, you can correct me about this. Even if he gets a BKB, he's still going to get kited, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes on Death Prophet, she can just heals herself.
Yeah.
If he goes on somebody else, they can get cold embraced. It's a really tough game, actually, at this point.
Resolution quietly having a great game, 5-0-4. Echo
really
Saber, SNY, as well as an armlet. He has every item he needs to take over this mid game.
This is definitely the best thing about having an Ursa on your team, though. It's just so easy to solo Roche. Normally, teams can kind of play around when they expect their opponents to do it. He's going to get this in time.
He needs to get this in time. The silence will come out. The bash! He actually might not get it. They're going to snatch it with the Aegis going Misery's way. Great Ravage from Moo, and they'll take both of them down. Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Swindles does solo the Winter Wyvern, but that is, I almost will call that game losing.
He had 2 hits there to guarantee kill Roche. He was gonna get it before they got there. The first big thing was that they silenced him, so he was about to use Overpower because it was coming off cooldown. He didn't get to do that, and then he got bashed. And then Roche, he killed Roche at least, but they didn't get the Aegis. Oh man.
You know, DC, I might think that with Limp they're trying something new with the heroes they've been grabbing. These are heroes that Limp is not maybe used to, and of course they are going against FDL if they lose this game, but right now they are in critical condition. They are on their deathbeds, to say the very least. They'll lose their melee racks, and it is a tough road to climb out of.
I don't know, like deathbed. It's more like they got diagnosed with a terrible disease is what happened right there. I mean, it was looking not so good. With that happening, it was looking
before that, they were feeling a little sick, a little under the weather.
And then they finally saw the doctor, and the doctor's like, hey, this game's actually not looking very good for
Listen,
you guys.
You know, right now, if you continue the way you're going right now, you have maybe 6 to 12 months to live.
He's like, I ran some blood work, and your Rax is dead. It's not looking good, man. And there's still Aegis from you.
Listen, I looked at the test. Your racks are gone. I'm sorry to say.
Yep. So now cole's going to try to stabilize a bit more, but the net worths are looking bad. If you look at net worth for the heroes, the best one up there is Chessie, but they got to start getting stuff done.
Relocate Toxic continues to be the sacrificial lamb. Might even get the Combrace
Stuff has been gotten done.
Stuff. I mean, it's very minimal amounts of stuff. It's like, okay, he started to work out.
I mean, that's
if we're going to keep using this analogy, they started working out a little bit just to feel a bit better about, just to feel, get the white blood cells up, I guess.
No, that was more like they started taking their antibiotics.
Okay.
That's what just happened. Like, all right, we killed one of their low net worth heroes, but they're ahead of us, so comeback mechanics gives us a decent position. It's going okay. And they've got BKB on Chessie now, so as he initiates, he is going to be able to at least focus on somebody like Tidehunter if he wants to, and that's a big thing.
Gosh, he might have to use it now. The Enrage, or rather the Overpower, is going to come out.
They found Bounty.
The Dual Scepter will go through. They have found him. There's the Moonlight Shadow. This might be the first okay fight going the way. No Winter Wyvern, but Swindles is already dead. There's going to be the Fiend script. Can they bring Weehaw down? Yes, they can, but is that it? Aegis is also dropped down from Misery, and Resolution now leaving Moo. Has Ravage. Can he counter-initiate? Jump in. Resolution still looking for that damage. Now there's the Ravage, and catching on 4. Beautifully done for Moo. Do they have the damage? Overcharged. Chessie split up. They will finally bring that IO down. Tracked up arrow coming through, and they're going to catch Resolution. Can they bring him down? The cold embrace. The Starstorm is up. The Brain Sap is there. Look at the Starstorm damage on the Moo. Track coming through on the backside from the Bounty Hunter. Limp still chasing forward. He's got no Storm Store for 5, no Brain Sap for 2, no way to catch Moo out. Blink Decker was just purchased by the Mirana, and somehow that still turns into a 3-for-2 fight. Arrow will miss narrowly. An Elite could be there, and it is, but it's just not close enough. Moo has his Blink ready to go. Stocks is here. They're looking to turn it around. They're going to go right onto Moo. Great Nightmare behind you. Starstorm coming through. Moo's low Shuriken toss. Not enough to bring down Z-Freak, but they do get the kill on the title draw and Complexity side. Blink away up in 5 seconds, and it will finally be a 3-for-3. And any trade that you get usually, although they are against a Bounty Hunter, is usually a good trade when you're this far behind.
I actually think they did great in that fight, especially the chase there. I thought Z-Freak was going to die for sure when 3 heroes showed up, but the Brain Sap plus double Starstorm, that was an insane amount of damage, and they picked off the tide there. So they get that victory. I think Ursa got a lot done in that fight. I think he made great target decision making there. Swindles as well did fairly well. I think everybody on coL played that fight amazing, and that kind of puts them back in the game a bit, and they're showing some really good signs of life.
Yeah, Chessie, he has purchased up another item. No, actually, he's just at 1,000 gold. I thought he had another item purchased up, but I spoke too soon. And anything else coming out on the board? I do want to check the F5
Force Staff
button.
on Bane.
Force Staff
That's
is
pretty
there.
big against Lifestealer.
Yeah, he needs that. They need more Force Staffs, really, just to counteract the Lifestealer chasing you down with open wounds. There are ways to just take out open wounds altogether, like a Manta style. Not that there's really a Manta hero this game, with the exception of Mirana, but she's probably going Shiva's next, I would imagine. That's the build on Mirana's with the Ags nowadays.
I think it's pretty good this game, actually. Almost all of DC's damage is actually physical, so I like it. Something like that could be useful. It'll reduce Lifestealer's attack speed by quite a bit.
They no loose here? No.
I mean, they probably can't kill him anyways.
They do now, but they also know that Resolution's here as well. Everyone's mid.
I really like Z-Freak's skill build this game. He's going for 3 levels of Enfeeble rather than maxing out Nightmare all the way. I think it's a really good way to go.
That could be hero saving against a Lifestealer.
It recently got buffed the patch before this last one. The mana cost is 95 at all levels. It used to scale up to like 120. But 95 mana for this attack or for this spell range, it's like 900 cast range.
It doesn't actually go through BKB. I think it stays through BKB. It doesn't pierce spell immunity though.
I'm pretty sure you can cast it through spell immunity.
Well, then the mechanic or the whatchamacallit is wrong.
Oh, it says no? Okay, I'm wrong then. I must be wrong. That's more like
no, because trust me, I know like times where it used to be able to go through BKB, but
it doesn't get removed by BKB for sure.
I think that's for sure.
But I assumed you could cast it through, but I'm thinking about it now. I don't think you can.
Weehaw has popped the Exorcism, and he's looking to finish off a tier 3 tower. Limp comes in, Lotus Orb is up, and look how much damage he takes. Just so much. Especially Ghost Scepter will not save you. Jumping in, Swindles looking for the roar. Now they're looking for Weehaw, but a good Ravage. Chessie didn't pop the BKB. He does now, but it's too late, and he's already dead. They feed Script a creep, and now Complexity. It's all unraveling. Oh, Chessie's forced to buy back. His BKB was already used, mind you. They're still looking for Weehaw. Good cold embrace. The Starstorm is not there, and Chessie has died back. They get off the Winter's Curse. Z-Freak getting chewed up by Resolution. He'll go down. They'll lose the IO. They'll lose Swindle Melons, and I can't believe it ends like that. Limp, the sole survivor.
It looks so good for coL there. If the Ursa pops BKB, they win the fight. That's it. He had to kill Weehaw right there. I don't know if Saksa had his cold embrace or not, but they had to kill Weehaw. They didn't, and because of that, they just kept getting shredded by this AC Exorcism. Huge mistakes. DC did play that fight very well. They used their skills appropriately. Great Ravage from Moo. That really set everything off. I mean, in a lot of cases, I think I would be afraid to Ravage. I'm like, well, he's going to pop BKB when he goes in. But he didn't hesitate. He popped Ravage. It caught the Ursa, and that won them the fight.
Chessie just misses the BKB narrowly or just forgets about it altogether against a Ravage team. And that's 2 sets of racks and about to be a third. Limp is up and alive. He's been alive for some time. Ursa had to buy back and then die out. So he's still dead for another 8 seconds. This will be your full set. Weehaw has picked up his full Octarine core. His Exorcism now back up and will be back up in another 100 seconds as well. They get the track up onto Z-Freak. It's full Mega Creep. There's the open wounds. It's a good Force Staff, but it will not save him. Relocate out. Too late, unfortunately, for the IO there. And Complexity, again, another series lost to Digital Chaos, and it's not like they played bad, I don't think. Well, in this particular ending situation, this ending fight, maybe you could argue they made a couple of big critical errors, Berg, but otherwise, it looks rather close to these first two games.
Yeah, it really did. I just think DC just obviously played better. That's simply what happened. They didn't make the kinds of mistakes Complexity did. Complexity needed to get a little bit more out of their laning stage, and they had some errors that put them in a bad spot. DC's draft was really good. I think coL's draft was also quite good. It's just